Behind every great leader, there is someone who believed in them. Someone who held them accountable when they wanted to take a shortcut. Someone who listened when they wanted to be heard. And someone who believed that they can lead and be a better leader. They come to our lives in many forms, as peers, friends, family, mentors, sponsors, and as a coach. Today, I'm eager to learn more about what it's like to have a career helping leaders be better leaders as a coach. Why do they become a coach? How do they help leaders be better leaders? And why is coaching an important skill for everyone? Hi, I'm Monica Kang, founder and CEO of InnovatorsBox, and you're listening to Curious Monica, a show where we learn how different people thrive at different jobs. Welcome to Season 2.
It seems that I just kind of have a way to say, hey, when other people want to put us in a box, let's just kick out a little bit that box. Just kind of maybe tear a little bit edge away and let's try it out.
And so we grow up in systems, parental systems, family systems, work systems, where someone above us or people around us know how it is. We're supposed to sort of internalize it or we're told what to do. And coaching flips that on its head. Coaching creates a space. And I really believe in this idea of holding the space, about what is to be present with another person, about holding the space and letting go of conditioned thinking and making us open to what we don't know yet.
Everybody is just a human being. No matter what title you have, whether you're a security or you're a CEO of a company, you're a founder, you're a billionaire, all the way to just a teenager, you're innately a worthy human being, a human being that has fun, unique ideas.
While we covered some insights on what it's like to be a coach in Season 1, Episode 4 of Curious Monica, I've received so many questions about coaching and how to find a good coach. So I got curious about how we could dive deeper into this field. And it struck me how I felt about coaching before I became a coach too. How do coaches become good coaches? As I interviewed 3 friends about their journey into coaching, a pattern emerged. The first pattern was that to be a good coach, they realized they had to invest in themselves as a person first. If you aren't a good leader or good at understanding other people, how could you help others see from that lens?
So where coaching is different for me is it's not about me. It's about the space that I share with another person or a team and letting go of our ego and our agenda and seeing what emerges. And that for me has been a gift. Is it like a healing gift? Because I think I was plagued for many years of this, if I'm successful, I am okay. And that manifests itself as an opera singer. If I sing well, I'll get a good review and people will say nice things about me. And in business, if we win business, then we are worth something. So I think this whole shift for me, coaching about letting go of ego, has been a real watershed moment in my life.
Meet Julian, an executive coach in London and the founder of JAA World, Julian Alexander and Associations, where he helps business leaders, management teams, and organizations achieve their potential and growth through transformational coaching and leadership development programs. I met Julian in the Forbes Coaches Council that I'm part of and was inspired by how he became a coach. As a former opera singer and entrepreneur, he realized how most of our successes are defined by what we do, and less of who we are as a person. He wanted to change that.
It's really at the heart of the work I do, which is about, there's people are really suffering from things like imposter syndrome. Who am I? Am I good enough? Am I successful enough? Or defining who they are by their success. And I think my whole journey has been blind to the fact that actually I was very attached to all those things, then becoming aware of it, then realizing that it wasn't serving me well, and now helping other people to see the same.
Julian wanted to become a coach because he realized how important it was for him personally.
Life is a dark teacher. Bad things happen, difficult things happen. It's our unconscious inviting us to look for a better way.
Even though he loved opera singing and business, both fields' successes relied on how others perceived you. As a high performer, he found himself getting anxious before a performance or being a poor manager in his business. It wasn't until he took a step back and realized to serve and make a greater impact, he had to really reconcile with what he was good at and what he enjoyed, which are how he found coaching to be a powerful skill. He resonated very much with others who were struggling with the same challenges he once faced before as a driven leader, and now he helps create space for others. But one key reason why he continues to be a great coach is that he never stops learning.
I studied at a great school called the Academy of Executive Coaching, and that learning 6 months were some of the most fulfilling time I've ever spent. I talk about this in some of my programs about the time we spend doing and output versus the time we spend reflecting and growing and learning. And I think traditionally we're programmed in our world to have this short period of intense study, qualify to do something, and then churn it out day after day for the rest of our lives. And that also consolidates all our habitual behavior, how we show up every day. We're kind of the same old. So I think, first of all, just having this time out to learn a new skill, or it wasn't necessarily new to me because I was familiar with the world of developing people and leadership, but to spend time in a new space, learning, discovering was great. And I think, that continuous professional development is a really important part of what great coaches have now. They have their supervision, they have peer coaching with other coaches, their training, their reading. Reading is a massive part of developing as a coach because there's just so much great stuff. And now I have a much greater balance between developing and working. And even working is the wrong word. I suppose I mean just between developing and reflecting and the output as a professional.
I deeply appreciated Julian's reflection on this. Good coaches are great at what they do because they take the time to develop their skills as well. Julian shares how he takes the time to reflect on how he thinks by spending time in nature, taking care of his health, including his mind, to ensure he can serve his clients and leaders to be better leaders. A second pattern I noticed was that great coaches have deep curiosity and resilience. Instead of accepting something as is, they wonder and ask what if and why not. This is why Kelly Bader, a serial entrepreneur, coach, author, and keynote speaker in Zurich, Switzerland, shares how throughout her career, she was used to thinking about being one of the few and asked, why not?
I came from a place and a time when baby girls actually were not valued much. And we were just seen as a future baby production machine. So no need to invest in anything, especially education. So growing up, there was about 1.5 decades of my life, it was very dark. We're talking about family violence and sexual abuse because my mother was unfortunately addicted to gambling and alcohol. While she tried very hard to raise me and my brother up, but she just didn't know better. And later on, when I was climbing my corporate ladder, my background was when I exited out, I was an executive of sales and marketing in luxury hospitality industry. In that process of over 10-something years in the corporate world, again, that time's a pretty, male-dominated situation. And I remember a couple years back, I watched a movie from US, a lovely movie called Hidden Figures. And I remember it's a group of wonderful African-American ladies. For me, they are the real heroes behind the NASA project. And the main cast, Catherine, she had to run like blocks away in order to go to ladies' room. Well, I kind of experienced that. I did not have to run blocks away, but there were a couple occasions that when I attend important meeting or board meetings, especially because I was one of the youngest executive and quote unquote worse because I'm a woman. So there are a couple of times that during the coffee break, and I asked, where is the ladies' room? And the organizer will kind of scratch his head and look at me like, we don't have one on this floor. I say, okay. Then I have to go a couple floors down.
Kelly has been in many rooms, as you just heard, where she was one of the few in every room she walked into. And each time, she took the courage to transform someone's no into a yes and paved her own possibilities. Because she knew why she is so passionate about serving others as a coach, she knew she could help them pave their own paths too. I asked Kelly how she finds the courage to do something new. There were many moments she could have given in or let the situation discourage her from moving forward. Doing so both in your own life and as a coach in other people's lives takes double courage. How do you do that? Kelly smiled back, acknowledging it wasn't easy, and there was an event a long time ago that made her first reflect on this. It was during her university days in Taiwan. Her teacher asked her to perform a solo in front of thousands of people, and she was terrified.
She came to me and said, hey, this year in the concert, I want you to take that part of solo. And I look at her like, no. I told her, said, they are Grace, they are Vivian. I gave her about another 10 names. I said, they are way better than me. You don't want me to ruin the reputation of the school choir. And then she looked at me like, Kelly, I think I know very well all our people. And this is the last year of the school. This is the last opportunity that you can do that. Besides, how selfish you are if you're gonna keep that God-given voice all to yourself. So I look at her with unbelief facial expression, I'm sure. The only thing I was thinking that moment is, she just say I'm selfish, right? So I couldn't persuade her, so I had to agree. So cheaply, I kind of just agree. On that day, the real day, the performing day, I remember when the curtain went up and I was staring at that seas of people, managed to smile. And I remember she said, don't be selfish. The people will not just enjoy your presence, but people will really relate to your courage. And with that in mind, I did a performance. We got 3 times encore. The experience was beyond words. So that is one of the turning point for me. It's when we shine the light, our light, is really not about ourselves at all. When we are willing to push a limit, like Winter Olympic just end, right? When each athlete, they push a limit, they set a new record, actually it's not for themselves. It's awesome they get the medals, but for human race, we just step a little bit further.
Go a little bit further with a purpose indeed. This framing of how can I take the courage to be a better me so that I can serve others is a route that led Kelly to be the coach she is today. Like Julian, the driver is not to win merits and awards for oneself, but to serve others. I resonated very much because as a coach, I know how it feels different to walk into a room where I'm fully there for that person versus walking in with an agenda. It's a bit contradictory compared to business, where your goal may be to win more projects in every room you walk into. But if you walked into a coaching session with a focus to win more coaching sessions, you're not really there to listen and hold space for the person who is needing support. Walking into a room as a coach to hold space and meet where the client is with an open lens takes a lot of courage, vulnerability, and self-awareness. This is why the third pattern I find in a lot of great coaches is their humility to be deeply vulnerable and honest about their journey and challenges. Meet Bonnie Kim, a serial entrepreneur and the founder of Royal Telos, where she coaches startup executives and provides coaching training. Bonnie has worked in over 10 industries and has both experienced and overcome a lot of difficult challenges. And one thing that you'll notice about Bonnie is that she isn't shy of talking about both her highs and low moments in life. Speaking about her challenges and being vulnerable is her way of communicating with everyone. I'm here with you, and this room is safe.
My growing up experience at home and just my social interactions with people was pretty tumultuous, and not really having a grounded or solid foundation at home. My parents were I know they did the best that they can, but it wasn't very helpful for raising children. So there was a lot of chaos in the family, financial chaos, there was never order and peace at home. Home was always a place of either fear or disillusionment. So I didn't really see myself having a solid future. I knew that I am resilient and a survivor, even as a young child, but I didn't know what that could mean.
Today, Bonnie is known as a secret weapon for many because of her sharp insight into business, people, operation, and growth. Her success in restaurants, business, fashion, marketing, nonprofit, and now coaching all came together because of her willingness to honor her full story as is. Nothing to hide, nothing to sugarcoat.
By middle school, I was hanging out with gang members, who's doing all these crimes and a crazy world. And then by high school, my grades were sinking. I was getting multiple suspensions. My GPA was 1.67, I remember at that time. So I didn't really have a sense of hope or purpose. You're already like, whatever, this whole system is screwed, so I don't care.
Our past and our experiences are part of who we are, and the key is how we shape it and make it our own. And being someone who paved her own path when others said there wasn't one, she constantly now helps others as a coach to find their path even when they feel stuck. For Bonnie, faith was important.
And it was something truly supernatural, something that I couldn't have done on my own. No amount of self-will pushing through could help this person who is so fragile and broken in my mind to get to a place where I actually have some trajectory to look forward to. So that was a big awakening, but kind of the redeeming part of the past of such trauma, such intensity, is that I was able to also kind of, in how I do now, I see the connection points, I see where different spaces intersect. I believe that such a dysfunctional and intense life also helped me to understand what my risk tolerance really is. Because when you're on the other side and you feel like you really don't have much to lose, and you're also hanging out with people who are just like breaking the law, you don't really fear what the average person fears anymore because you've already went on the deep end. So when you switch to the kind of the other side where your energy is going towards something productive, then you also still don't fear a lot of things that common folks might fear, especially as working with entrepreneurs, especially being an entrepreneur. So the risk tolerance is a lot different. And I think that's a big redeeming quality.
I hope you caught Bonnie's humility in her sharing. She could have easily blamed her difficult moments. She could have easily faulted someone else for not giving her opportunities early on. Instead, she made her own path and created her own map and uses that skill to now help others. I asked if she could share an example of how these experiences helped her hone her skill as a coach and entrepreneur today. She traced us back to an event during high school. The school was strict, and guards ensured students stayed in class. But for Bonnie, who has ADHD, the formality in the classroom was the very barrier to learning. So, she would sometimes sneak out of the classroom, and in that process, she realized she learned a very important life lesson. All people like to be treated with respect and appreciation.
By the way, I also have a learning disability. So that's why it was really hard for me to focus in class, like ADHD and all this other stuff. So definitely I don't want to go to class anyway. But then I would make friends with the security guards and say, hey, can you just let me go? I'll go get you like tacos down the street. And I knew that they liked the tacos and I do too. Just let me go for an hour. And they would let me go. And I'm telling you, this was a high school that was known to be almost like a blue ribbon school, right? So security guards aren't going to do that. They're going to get in big trouble. But I found a loophole. I found a way to work with them and say, hey, I really don't want to be in this class. This class is overwhelming me. It creates a lot of anxiety. I didn't say that to them, but I found a way to just go off campus, get tacos, and bring some back to them and make friends with them, right? So even that's just a silly example, but that helped me to see, wow, everybody is just a human being. No matter what title you have, whether you're a security or you're a CEO of a company, you're founder, you're a billionaire, all the way to just a teenager, you're innately a worthy human being, a human being that has fun, unique ideas. Those people want tacos. Okay, let me connect with you on that level. So I think that kind of mindset was an intro to psychology, intro to connecting with people at a young age. I don't know. But that kind of real world, quote unquote, real world experience was very, very early on for me. And then as I got out of high school, went into college and doing my own entrepreneur pursuits, it came into full effect because I'm trying to see what is a win-win? How can I negotiate to help you succeed, get your tacos, but I want tacos too. But I don't think I could have just learned that if I wasn't really pushed towards learning it out of necessity.
Wow. Now I'm going to think twice the next time Bonnie asks me about tacos. But what a great reminder. As silly as this example Bonnie shared may sound, the root of the lesson is clear. From an early age, Bonnie was reminded that people are people. And the more we see each other as a person instead of the title and the attributes around them, the more we could see them fully as the person they are and can be. So yes, unlike sports coaches who may have particular expertise and experience in sports they are coaching, leadership coaches are coming from a deep life experience and coaching experiences to help leaders to be better leaders. And many good coaches or leaders have had a deep journey of their own to realize why such a skill are important for them to want to help others. I'm so grateful that I get to also befriend amazing coaches like Julian, Kelly, and Bonnie, who serve with the purpose and deep compassion. There are many more aspects of what makes a coach great, but one key aspect is that good coaches invest in themselves as a person and a leader too. So the next time you are looking to find the coach you want to work with, ask how they got to be the coach they are. And coaches, to be a better coach, ask yourself how you were investing the time to hone your craft. Thank you, Bonnie, Kelly, and Julian, again for sharing your story with us. Please take a moment to learn more about their journey by seeing their links in our show notes. This was your host, Monica Kang, founder and CEO of InnovatorsBox, and you're listening to Curious Monica. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Next week, I'm eager to dive into youth education. What is it like to be a teacher? What happens in our youth education and more? Curious? Join me next week and we'll learn more. Have a great week. Oh, and if you caught the music lately, yes, this is our latest music album from InnovatorsBox Studios, our holiday music collection, Pause to Wonder. Hope you enjoy it. I'll see you soon.
Where I am, who I am, I pause to wonder.
Hi, I'm Sam, an audio engineer at InnovatorsBox, and I hope you're enjoying Curious Monica. I got curious about audio and music when I was still in elementary school. At 8 years old, I was trying to put a band together, and by 12, I was starting to make recordings with my friends. And I'm still going. This show is brought together by our amazing podcast team at InnovatorsBox Studios. Shout out to our audio engineering, me, Kelly Gravo on marketing, website designer Akriti Pandey, graphic designer Monica Escobar, Leah Orsini on social media graphics, Sarah Piedrahita and Floor on project assistance, and Luke Helder on music. And of course, this show is hosted and directed by the curious woman herself, Monica Kang, founder and CEO of InnovatorsBox. To continue the curiosity and creativity of the workplace, visit us at innovatorsbox.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share. Would love to hear what you're curious about and what mysteries Monica can uncover in our next episodes. See you next week!
Hey, it's Monica King from InnovatorsBox. Thanks for watching this. I'm so glad you're here. I hope this inspired you to be creative, curious, and courageous. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to spread creativity for all. See you soon, and have a wonderful, magical day.